Hello everyone, it is Darkseeker here again, welcome back for another video. Now, the Boomsday expansion is in full swing, and I'm continuing to experiment with different decks, trying to see what's viable and what's not. So yeah, over the next couple of weeks, do expect a whole series of videos, which won't be very long, but as I say, I'm dipping in, dipping out, seeing what I like. Today we are playing Deathrattle Rogue, and thank you to a player called Thedude1329 for this deck. So on initial impressions, I look at the deck and my eyes are drawn to Cavern Shiny Finder, and I think, oh wait, Cavern Shiny Finder? Isn't it Kingsbane Rogue that plays that? I'm not a fan of Kingsbane Rogue, so I thought, oh my god, there's the Shiny Finder. Is there a Kingsbane in this deck? No, there isn't. In fact, the weapon that we're trying to draw is the Necrium Blade. So Necrium Blade, Deathrattle, trigger the Deathrattle of a friendly random minion. So obviously there are lots of Deathrattle minions in this deck, and Necrium Blade has turned out to be one of my favourite cards in the game, actually. So let's look at the Deathrattle minions. You have eggs, right? Nerubian Egg, Devilsaur Egg. You have Blight Nozzle Crawler, Deathrattle summoning 1/1 ooze with Poisonous and Rush. That's actually really good against big taunts, I guess, or other big threats you want to get rid of. You've also got Myra Rotspring, so Battle Cry, discover a Deathrattle minion, gain its Deathrattle. Now, there are some bad Deathrattle minions in the game, but the chances are one of the Deathrattle minions that you discover is going to be good, right? So I guess that makes Myra somewhat viable. She only has 2 health, and therefore, of course, with 2 health, you want to kill her off quickly to gain advantage of the to gain the benefit of the Deathrattle. Necrium Vial, trigger a friendly minion's Deathrattle twice. Really good with the likes of Sylvanas. Mechanical Whelp, I'm not so sure about this card. It's 6 cost, giving you a 2/2 body, but the Deathrattle is summon a 7/7 Mechanical Dragon. I'm not sure if this card is worthwhile or not. It seems very, very slow. I think it's good if you're about to trigger the Deathrattle on Necrium Blade, but otherwise, essentially it is a 6 cost 2/2, and you have to do a bit of work to then trigger that Deathrattle. So I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, Enzoth the Corruptor in this deck, of course, for your late game value. Unearthed Raptor for a little bit more value too. So let's have a look at a few games of this deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder. Right, so we're starting out against a Priest. And I've kept the Minstrel because I have the coins, so maybe we can get some value there. Now please do excuse any misplays that you see. This was my first game with this deck and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know, seeing Cavern Shiny Finder makes me think I'm a Kingsbane Rogue for some reason. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. So please excuse any plays that are not completely sort of efficient. But it's a Priest, and the chances are it's going to be some kind of big Priest, right? So it'll be interesting to see how this deck can cope and what kind of tempo it can create. So there's the Shiny Finder into the Necrium Blade. Next turn I could play the Devilsaur Egg, or I could play the Necrium Blade. Oh wow. Interesting. Uses Spirit Lash just to clear 1 minion. So here is potentially misplay number 1 from on my part. I play the Necrium Blade. Maybe I should have played the Devilsaur Egg. The reason is that if he has weapon destruction like Acidic Swamp Ooze, sure, I've swung once with the blade, but I don't have any Deathrattle minions on board. If he plays weapon destruction, I don't gain anything from the Deathrattle of that weapon. But it's a big Priest. They don't run weapon destruction, right? They're too obsessed with their spells and their resurrection effects. So So I could play the egg here, just to get the Devil's Saw out. Or Spirit Singer Umbra. If she sticks, I can play the Devil's Saw egg, get the 5/5 Devil's Saw, swing with the weapon, and get another Devil's Saw. And that is the kind of board that they struggle to come back from. That would be a game-winning board with all of the damage that I could do. But of course, he has the answer. He has the Shadow Word Pain. So I could coin out the Whelp here, but I think the Devil's Saw, getting the Devil's Saw live is better.
Justice is mine.
So daggering up uses up all of our mana. Let's see how he responds to this. So it is Big Priest, and he gets the Ragnaros. Of course he has a silence. And of course he snipes down my 5/5. Of course. Why would it go any other way? RNG is clearly on his side here. I can't compete. So being at a bit of a disadvantage, my response is to just plop two things down the board and hope for the best. Not much thought put into my plays there. Should have thought things through a little bit more clearly, taken a bit more time. But it's okay. We still have options in our hand. I'm eyeing up the other Necrium Blade. I also have the Minstrel for card draw. And this is interesting. Excavated Evil to kill one minion on my board. And of course, Rag goes face. Of course. So, I could play the Whelp here. It's a off-curve play. I float one mana, which means that's probably not ideal. Maybe I just use all my mana, draw some cards, do some face damage. That feels good. So we'll see what this Ragnaros does very shortly, which minion it snipes down. So I have Unearthed Raptor, that could be interesting. These 6 mana Whelps though, very expensive. And of course his Ragnaros hits my face, again. Of course. Which makes me think, do we need to do something about Ragnaros now? There is a tendency to ignore the first big minion that gets played by the priest, if you can help it, just to stall his resurrection effects. And usually Ragnaros against a slightly wide board isn't too much of a problem, because it'll just snipe down one minion a turn, allowing you to still go face and do, you know, quite a lot of damage. Obsidian Statue would have been the worst one for us, because we'd have to keep hitting it to get through it, which would then keep healing him. So seeing a Ragnaros isn't the worst thing in the world, but I'm going to kill that one. Just because I can. Just because I can. And to play around another sort of Spirit Lash or Excavated Evil, just may as well get the value on that 1/1 poison minion while we could. And Psychic Scream, unfortunately for him, I have more stuff I can play. I can put more stuff down the board. And if he's going to resurrect a Ragnaros, that's actually fine, because hopefully the Rag hits a minion. Nope, does not resurrect the Ragnaros. Puts down the minion that we don't like to see. So in response, we play as Sylvanas, the idea being to steal that Obsidian Statue, hopefully, which will then stop him from resurrecting it. Either way, if we don't kill him soon, we're going to be in a really bad spot. Because he'll just keep resurrecting stuff, and if he resurrects the statue, it could just be game over for us. Because, you know, in order to connect with his face, we're going to have to kill it. Killing it involves healing him, and that's not good. Oh dear. Interesting. Double rag. What are the chances that one of those rags will snipe the Sylvanas? Oh, it goes face. Oh, and it misses the Sylvanas. Okay, sure. I'm at 2 health. This feels really bad.
Let none survive.
So I'm eyeing up the cube on the Sylvanas, but before I do that, I think I want to throw her in for 1 hit, just in case, you know, just in case I don't steal the statue. We want to injure it, right? Okay, we don't steal it. Of course, kills our 7/7. So a cube on a cube. Normally that feels bad, because when my cube dies, it's just going to bring out some cubes, which do nothing. But the reason for doing that was to get the double Sylvanas on board. That's incredibly strong against the big priest. If he starts resurrecting more things, if he plays Spellstone, we can just steal some more things. Assuming, of course, that rag hits don't go to my face and kill me. But anyway, strong board. Let's see if he's got the second Psychic Scream. Let's not forget Enzoth the Corruptor in hand. So, potential to get back some good stuff. Oh dear lord, he gets the double rag. Okay. Okay. Huh. Fair enough. I have 2 rags. So, the question is, do we have lethal? And actually now, with... Okay, that's good.
Let none survive.
RNG actually working in my favour for once. 3 Ragnarosses on board, it's over. So, in the end, despite all of his resurrection effects, it wasn't enough. So if this deck can beat Big Priest, that says something to me. And I don't think all of my plays were optimal either. I think I misplayed it at least a couple of times in that game. So if we could beat the Big Priest, we've done pretty well for ourselves. Okay, next little game. Against a Warlock. So this is Wild Mode. Reno Lock is a possibility. Although it could be a Demon Lock, it could be an Even Lock. No, his hero power is not discounted. This is more than likely Reno Lock. Although there's another possibility for it to be Healing Zoolock. Healing Zoolock has been incredibly popular on standard mode, but I think some more people have started playing it in Wild. But the fact that he's tapped would suggest to me that this is Reno Lock. Okay, so we have the Necrium Blade. We have both Necrium Blades in hand. That's the disadvantage of playing 2 shiny finders, I guess. My second shiny finder is now going to be somewhat useless, I guess. But that's okay. Necrium Blade will now give us a 4/4. Feels good. Oh, sorry, it'll give us a 4/4 next turn, once we hit again with the weapon. Okay, I need to get my head around these cards. It is the Deathrattle that triggers the Deathrattle on Necrium Blade that will then trigger the Deathrattle of a minion on my board. That is quite a mouthful. Thinking about developing Umbra, not sure if that does anything here at this juncture. And I got burned in the last game against a priest, where I developed an Umbra prematurely, and he just Shadow Word pained it. So we'll just develop another Necrium Blade and hope he doesn't have weapon destruction, but if he has weapon destruction, I still get value from Nerubian Egg, so fair enough. I guess at this juncture you would not want to destroy that weapon prematurely. So, I'm gonna draw with the minstrel here.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
Value the card draw. And he's nearly dead. And I'm just gonna throw everything face. This may seem like a weird play. If he does not have Reno Jackson here on turn 6, if he does not have a substantial demon that can protect his face, he's just dead. And there's every chance that his hand is subpar, that he doesn't have what he needs. And I think we just had to go all in there. Perhaps it was a misplay. Perhaps. But if he does manage to heal up and somehow clear the board, we have a way of refilling. We have Umbra with the Devil's Sword Egg coming up for turn 7. Sylvanas on 6 could just be solid. But this trade is interesting. It now makes me think, does he have a board clear? Of course, with Shiny Finder on the board, that's a 1 health minion. We have played right into Deathrattle. Maybe I should have seen it coming. But hey ho, he's dead. He actually couldn't clear the Nerubian, and that is game over. Just like that. And this does not seem to be a Reno lock. Double Void Hauler would suggest some kind of a demon lock or a cube lock. Okay. Next little game against Druid.
None can escape my fury.
Now, Druids are everywhere at the moment, on Standard, on Wild, and there's a whole manner of different Druids as well. Combo Druids with sort of Togwaggle, you've got combo Druids with Malagos, you have token Druids as well that are seeing major play. So you could argue that Druid is the class that benefited the most from the Boomsday expansion up to this point. And Biology Project is very, very interesting. It's given him ramp. It's also given me a bit of ramp as well.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
And that's actually allowed me to play the Minstrel. Bit earlier than expected. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So that taunt is a little bit of a roadblock. Having to invest quite a bit to get through it. With the Shiny Finder on board, I'm expecting him to hero power here. Up to this point, he may have looked at what I've played and he may be thinking, oh, it's a Kingsbane Rogue. But no, he's going to get a bit of a shock, a bit of a surprise soon enough. And once again, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to play Necrium Blade, hoping he doesn't have weapon destruction because I don't have a Deathrattle minion on board, but I'm setting myself up for something else on turn 6, possibly the Whelp. So these are risky plays, but let's see what he's got. I'm not seeing as much weapon destruction in this meta, so on that basis I'm thinking that my play was somewhat safe. Okay, so he does what he can to clear the board. The Whelp seems fine here, I guess, because we can get the 7/7 out now.
Justice is mine.
See, without this trigger from the Necrium Blade, that would be a bad card, I guess. The Whelp being, as I've mentioned before, 6 cost, 2/2 body initially, that needs some work to trigger a 7/7 coming out. Too expensive, too slow. But with Necrium Blade, we've now got this 7/7 out. Seems okay.
Now how about...
Next turn, we have Spirit Singer Umbra with the Devil's Sword Egg. That's pretty reasonable. But we may just be able to kill him if we can develop a substantial enough board here. We may just be able to kill him before Spreading Plague comes out. So that'd be quite useful.
The greatest roach.
If Spreading Plague does make an appearance, we then need to reevaluate how easy it will be to still win the game. But yeah, this is a big board presence here. This is substantial. There it is, as expected. Now, thankfully, we can kill off 3 of those, I believe, easily. But actually,
I have no time.
stealing one of those seems pretty good. See, not that stealing a 1/5 taunt does much to kill the druid, but it's one less taunt for me to have to go through. And I want to leave Umbra healthy. Let's see what he's got. He may have second Spreading Plague. See, that doesn't do anything because the Deathrattles trigger first. So I get the 5/5, I get the 7/7. And that's the benefit of playing Deathrattle minions, I guess, and there we go. It's all over.
Well played.
And back to rank 1. So the pressure that we were able to put on there was substantial enough that we were able to get the win before whatever ridiculous combo it is that he had was activated. Right, so the Thedude1329's Deathrattle Rogue. What do I think overall? Super fun deck to play. It has a really nice sort of tempo feel to it. At the same time, there is a bit of thought required. You know, for example, when do you trigger the Necrium Blade? When do you play the Necrium Blade? Which Deathrattle minions do you put down to benefit from the Deathrattle on Necrium Blade? There's different thoughts that sort of run through your head. A few questions over Mechanical Whelp and Blight Nozzle Crawler. Are those minions worth playing in this deck? Mechanical Whelp, on initial sort of impressions, it's a 6 cost 2/2, right? That's really costly, it's really expensive. And unless you have Spirit Singer Umbra on the board, or unless you have the Deathrattle on the blade, you're not going to get that 7/7 immediately. You'll have to wait till the following turn until you can trade it into something. It needs a bit of extra work. So I don't know if that card is any good. I mean, obviously there's synergy there with Necrium Vile. However, in all of the games I've played with this deck, and you've seen 3 games in this video, and after I'd recorded those 3 games, I went on to play, a few more. I never got an opportunity to play Necrium Vile. I never got an opportunity to play Myra Rotspring. So maybe if I'd had a chance to play those cards, maybe my impressions on this deck would be slightly different, perhaps. But anyway, going back to Mechanical Whelp, not so sure if that 6 cost 2/2 initial body is worthwhile or not. In terms of the Blight Nozzle Crawler, seems a little bit slow to me. Again, you only get the 1/1 Ooze with Rush and Poisonous on the Deathrattle. Obviously, you can combo the Crawler with Umbra, you can combo it with the Necrium Vile, you can combo it with the Deathrattle and the Necrium Blade, but you have to have those situations set up in order for it to work. If you're just playing the Blight Nozzle Crawler on its own with nothing else to work off of it, then it's quite slow and expensive. Other than that though, I mean, I love Sylvanas in this deck. I like the use of the cubes. I love Unearthed Raptor. There's a card that saw a fair amount of play at one point in Hearthstone's history, and then it sort of fizzled out, never to be seen again. So to see Unearthed Raptor played in a deck makes me very, very happy. So yeah, fun deck. You've got, let's not forget, the Coldbloods in this deck that go very, very well with the Nerubian and Devilsaur eggs, so that's worthy of consideration. And of course the super late game value from Enzoth the Corruptor can just be phenomenal. So yeah, if you guys are interested, give the deck a try. If you've got any thoughts on the deck, please leave them in the comments section below. Maybe you guys have been playing some Deathrattle Rogue and you've got some deck codes you'd like to share, please do so. I'd be quite interested. And if you've got suggestions on other Deathrattle minions that you think would fit better in this deck, please again give me your thoughts in the comments section below. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more standard or wild mode fun.